In this video, I'm going to walk you through the code base for both the core implementation and the Cartesi implementation, both looking at the backend and the front end. So let's start by creating a dApp. So create a front end, we can pick React and then JS templates. So just so you know, whether you're using React or the JS templates, they are almost the same integration. So I'm going to just walk you through the code base of the React template that we have selected, as well as the backend and JS templates. So whatever I'm going to explain here is going to apply to both the TS templates and the Next.js templates, and more details can also be found in the official documentation of the project. So let's dive right in. So now, starting with the backend, if you come over here, you notice that we have an examples directory, and inside this directory, this is where we try to create some logic for us to handle the inputs. So what you see on the UI in the previous video when we're doing interaction, so this is the code base for that to handle user inputs. So first of all, we have the greetings class, and this handles all things greetings. And inside the greetings class, we have different methods. We have the create greeting, which handle the creation of the greetings, and then we have the get greetings and the update greeting, as well as delete greeting or delete all greetings. So this makes use of notices, errors, and all of these are coming from the Cartesi wallets and the Cartesi router package that we are using. So in Cartesi, notice it's just more or less like logging the output of what you are getting. It's almost as good as doing console log. So that's what notice is. So now let's move on to the route. So because we are making use of Cartesi router, we have the privilege of creating routes, extending this particular class gotten from the Cartesi router package. So we created a route for greeting. We also created a route for update greeting. All the methods we created have their own routes that at the end of the day, so this is inspect route. So this handles making get request is as good as making a get request. Like trying to get back. We want to get back our greetings. We are going to extend the inspect route, and if you want to get one greeting, you are also going to extend this. So anything gets, you make use of the inspect, and anything input like sending something. When you are sending something, you make use of the advanced route. Okay, so if you move on to the index, you see where we added the routes. So these are custom routes that we created, and that's why we are adding them inside this index file. So these are others that has been created too. Some of them came with the Cartesi wallet, and some of them came with the router as well. And this deployment.contra.address is coming from this rollups.json. So here we have different contracts and all of that. So these contracts are the Cartesi core contracts. So all of these things that is happening here is handling the wallet interaction majorly, checking if there's a rollup address. So if in the front end we are going to be doing something like Ether withdraw, ERC20 withdraw, that's we want to create our own custom payload for this and all of that. So yeah, so basically that's what we have here, nothing much. So this is just handling sending everything, most of the calls that you're going to make is going to pass through this handle. And then so most of the, like I said earlier about sending, we're making a send request, or when post, it's almost as good as posting. So this is where the handle advance comes in, and then this inspects is where the getting, like making a get request, comes in. So this is the code that handles that part of it, and this is just while loop, checking if everything is okay and if there's any, if it's expecting anything, or if anything is currently running. So that's just basically it. So like I said earlier, the same thing applies with the TS template. The difference is just that is in TypeScript. So now let's move on to React. So in the front end, the first thing we need to do is to run npm install or yarn install to install all required dependencies, as explained in the documentation and in previous videos. And the next important thing we need to do is to go over to this .env file, make a copy of it. We have a default product ID, which you are advised to update to yours. So you can go to Wallet Connect's site and get your own copy project ID. So now that we have done that, I think we can pretty much run it right now. So since our installation is okay, we can run this, and this is running at this port. So I'm going to be explaining and revisiting that UI. So in our front end, this is the directory. We have this GraphQL directory which handles all GraphQL queries, because in Cartesi, if you remember what happened when we ran the backend in the previous core Cartesi implementation video, you notice that there is a port running at 8080 GraphQL port. So we make use of GraphQL to do GET requests and all of those kind of requests. So if you have not watched that video, ensure you go and visit the video. So the next thing we want to look at is what we have inside this source directory. First, we have this assets, which contains our image, and then we have this Cartesi directory. So this generated file is very important, because this is what we use to get the Cartesi functions, contract functions that we're going to interact with. So the next thing, and how did we get this? We actually generated it using this command, but that is added for us so that we wouldn't have to go through the process of generating it ourselves. So the next thing we want to look at is the hooks that we have. So we have different hooks to help make things a lot easier for us. So we have the use inspect call, which we use in handling all things GET requests. We have the use notices, like I explained earlier when explaining the backend. The notices is more or less like a log of everything you send into the system, or you send to the backend, so you get it back as a notice. And then we have the reports. When there's an error, when an error occurs, you get to see those reports. So this is how we are handling it here. Then the roll up, this is a custom function. Here we have all of these tab and factory contracts here in one place, such that we can easily reuse this use roll up in any other component. We also have the use voucher, which kind of like help us undo fetching of the vouchers and all of that. So the same thing applies with this voucher service. So in this config file, we have these different chains and their different addresses, and we have this portal. So this is very important, because this is the file you most likely will be importing most of the functions that you need from. So this handles almost all the functions you can think of as far as interacting or working with courtesy. So basically we have the deposit ERC20, we have the NFT, we have the withdraw function, we have the 721 transfer, 721, and all of that, 115. All these functions are all here. Inspect, call, and execute voucher. And in this component section, we have these components under examples. All these components other examples are what we have on this particular UI currently. So for the balance, we get to see it inside this wallet section. This balance section is what is being handled here. The notices is what we see inside these activities. When there is a notice, we see them here. And then the transfer is what we see here in this transfer section. And we have the vouchers, we have the custom button, we have the footer, we have the footer item. So this is what handles the footer here, and this is what handles the header. For this header is a component for it. So basically, if you don't need any of these, you can easily delete them. The ones you'll be making use of more often is going to be all these other ones here, which of course you can also modify to suit your use case or your design. And then pages, we have greetings and wallets. The greetings page is this first page we see, and then the wallet is this page that is there. Then under utils, we have constant file. We have this custom alerts where we handle alerts, errors, and sources. We have this custom and local hosts, and we have these providers, and we have this signer function here using WAGMI. And then we have all of these app layouts. So these are our providers, and yeah, our page routes, these are page routes as well. So on the WAGMI, a quick one. So if you want to deploy to any testnet, you can, whether testnet or mainnet, you can easily update the RPC with what is here. So this is just a dummy URL. You can update yours with the real value. So basically this is the URL, and then this is where your private key is going to go into. That's when you want to deploy, when you have deployed to mainnet or any of the testnet and you have your RPC with you. So this is where you pass that RPC. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any question, any issues, please, you can drop it in the comment section. I believe with this explanation, you will have a better understanding of how to use the template and how the code in the template actually works. Thank you, and see you in my next video.